Welcome everyone and welcome to our comprehensive course in creative writing. My name is Dr. Muhammad Alwishi and I'll be your instructor for this journey into the art and the craft of creative writing. This course is offered through the London College of International Studies, and over the next several sessions we will explore everything from foundations of creative writing to advanced techniques for producing original works and communicating effective as a writer. Creating writing is more than just putting words on paper. It's about expressing ideas, emotions, and stories in ways that resonate with readers. Whether you're interested in fiction, poetry, creative nonfiction, or scripting, this course will provide you with the tools and knowledge you need to develop your craft. Throughout this course, we will examine not only how to write creatively, but also how to read critically, provide constructive feedback, and navigate the professional aspects of being a writer in today's digital age. So let's begin this exciting journey together. Course outline. Before we dive into the content, let me give you an overview of what we will be covering throughout this course. Our course is structured into five main chapters, each building upon the previous one to give you a comprehensive understanding of creative writing. First, we will start with an introduction to creative writing, where we will define what creative writing is and isn't, and explore why it matters both as an art form and as a valuable skill. Second, we will examine the foundations of creative writing education. This is chapter one, where we will discuss the core mission of creative writing education, the importance of a student engagement, and the collaboration nature of the workshop model. Third, in chapter two, we will explore the writing process and craft development. Here, we will break down the stages of writing from brainstorming to editing and discuss important stylistic techniques and literary devices. Fourth, chapter three focuses on producing original creative work. This is where we get into the specifics of different genres: fiction, poetry, creative non-fiction, and script writing. We will also develop critical reading skill that will enhance your own writing. Fifth, chapter four addresses communication beyond the page. Being a writer today means more just than writing. It involves public reading, understanding the publishing landscape, and using technology ethically. Finally, chapter 5 will help you with measuring success and growth, uh, though we will focus primarily on the first four chapters in our time together. Each of these chapters is designed to build your skills progressively. By the end of this course, you'll have a solid foundation in creative writing. Learning objectives, understanding different tones, conversational, formal, intimate, authoritative, matching it tune to genre and subject matter, maintaining consistency while allowing natural variation, using tune to build trust and connection with readers, identifying potential confusion or skepticism, providing necessary context and information, building credibility through specific details, balancing challenging content with accessibility. Learning outcomes, study exemplary works across genres to understand how successful writers employ conventions, techniques, and innovations. Implement genre-specific techniques in your own writing, demonstrating understanding of form and function. Develop sophisticated understanding of craft decisions involving style, voice, theme, and form, and learn when to follow or subvert conventions. Um, Chapter 1, Foundations of Creative Writing Education. Now we're ready to begin with Chapter 1, Foundations of Creative Writing Education. You will see this slide lists three key areas we explore. Artistic expression, critical thinking, creative problem solving. Artistic expression is at the heart of creative writing. The text here tells us that creative writing encompasses prose, poetry, drama, and creative nonfiction, each offering unique avenues for artistic exploration and personal voice development. What this means is that creative writing isn't just one thing. You might find your voice in short stories, or perhaps in personal essays, or maybe in poetry. Each form offers different possibilities for expressions. Critical thinking is equally important. The text explains that students develop analytical skills that enable them to evaluate texts, understand literary traditions, and make sophisticated creative choices. In other words, creative writing isn't just about emotional expression, it requires intellectual rigor. You need to understand how literature works, how it has evolved, and how to make informed decisions about your own work. Creative problem solving addresses one of the most challenging aspects of writing. The text says that writers learn to navigate narrative challenges, revise effectively, and find innovative solutions to artistic dilemmas. Every piece of writing presents problems. How do I make this chapter believable? How do I structure this essay? How do I cut 500 words without losing meaning? These require creative problem solving skills that develop over time. These three foundations, artistic expression, critical thinking, and creative problem solving, work together. You need all three to become an effective creator, writer, or creative writer. Let's explore each in more depth. What is creative writing? Let's start by really understand what creative writing is. Look at this slide carefully. The text begins, creative writing represents far more than the simple act of putting words on paper. This is crucial to understand. Anyone can write words, but creative writing is something more. It continues, it is a disciplined art form that combines imagination with craft, um, spontaneity with structure, and personal vision with audience awareness. Let me break this down. Explains art form means that while creativity is important, creative writing also requires discipline and hard work. Combines imagination with craft, tells us that natural creativity isn't enough. You need to learn techniques. Spontaneity with structure means that even when an inspiration strikes, you need to shape that inspiration into a coherent form. Personal vision with audience awareness reminds us that while we write that matters to us, we also write to be read or to be read by others. Now look at this next part. At its core, creative writing involves artistic expression through multiple literary forms. Prose fiction that builds entire worlds, poetry that distills emotion into compressed language, drama that brings characters to life through dialogue and action, and creative nonfiction that transforms real experiences into compelling narratives. Notice the active verbs here, just like build, distills, brings to life, transforms. These aren't passive activities. Creative writing is active construction. Prose fiction creates entire fictional words where anything is possible. Poetry takes complex emotions and compresses them into concentrated language. Every word matters intensely. Drama uses dialogue and action to create performance. Creative nonfiction takes real life and shapes it into narrative. This image on the right shows a stack of classic books. These represents the literary tradition you're joining. Each of these books was created by someone who mastered the craft we're studying. They understood that creative writing is both an art and a discipline. The key takeaway from this slide is that creative writing is not casual or careless. It's purposeful, crafted, and multifaceted. It requires both the freedom of imagination and the discipline of technique. Uh, Core mission of creative writing education. Now that we understand what creative writing is, let's discuss what creative writing education aims to accomplish. This slide presents a dense but important paragraph. Let me read it and then break it down. The core mission of creative writing education centers on developing three interconnected capabilities. First, students master the technical writing skills necessary to execute their creative visions with precision and impact. This includes everything from sentence level machines or mechanics to large scale um, structural decisions. Second, they cultivate critical thinking abilities that allow them to analyze literature, understand how texts create meaning, and evaluate their own work with discernment. Third, they develop creative problem solving skills that help them navigate the inevitable challenges of the writing process, from overcoming writer's block to revise unsuccessful drafts into polished pieces. Let's examine each of these three capabilities more closely. First, capability, technical writing skills. The text mentions sentence level machines or mechanics to a large scale structural decisions. This means everything from grammar and pronunciation, sentence level, to how you organize an entire novel or essay. Large scale structure. You need both a beautiful structured novel with grammatical errors won't succeed. Perfect grammar with poor structure won't work either. Second, capability, critical thinking abilities. Um, This goes beyond just reading for pleasure. You need to analyze literature, break it down to understand how it works. You need to understand how texts create meaning. Why does a particular scene affect us emotionally? How does a poet create ambiguity? You also need to evaluate their own work with discernment, meaning you must develop the ability to judge your own writing objectively. Third, the capability, creating a problem-solving skill. The text superficially or specifically mentions overcoming writer's block and revision unsuccessful drafts. These are real challenges every writer faces. Education in creative writing teaches you strategies for working through these problems. When you're stuck, you learn techniques to get unstuck. When a draft isn't working, you learn how to diagnose problems and fix them. Notice that these three capabilities are described as interconnected. They work together. Your technical skills support your critical thinking, which enables better problem solving. Your problem solving abilities to help you apply technical skills more effectively. Your critical thinking sharpens both. This is what creative writing education is designed to do. Develop all three of these capabilities simultaneously. So you become a complete writer, not just someone with one or two strengths. Student engagement, moving from the mission of creative writing education to how that mission is accomplished, we now need to talk about student engagement. This is absolutely crucial. The text on this slide states student engagement form the life blood of effective creative writing education, unlike lecture-based courses where information flows primarily from instructor to student, creative writing classes thrive on active participation and collaborative learning. Workshop provide a structured spaces where students share their work, receive constructive feedback, and learn from peers, successful and the challenges. These sessions teach not just writing skills, but also critical reading abilities and professional communication practice. Let me emphasize some key phrases here. First, student engagement forms the life blood, not just is important but forms the lifeblood. This tells us it's essential, not optional. Second, unlike lecture based courses, this knowledge or this acknowledges that creative writing classes work differently. I can lecture about writing techniques and I will, but that's only part of the learning. The real learning happens when you create actively participate. Third, workshop provide structured spaces. Note the word structured. It isn't chaotic or random. Good workshop have rules and procedures that make them effective. Fourth, share their work, receive constructive feedback, and learn from peers' successes and the challenges that describe the workshop model. You'll write something, share it with the class, receive feedback, and also learn by reading what your peers write and seeing what works or doesn't work in their writing. Fifth, teach not just writing skills but also critical reading abilities and professional communication practices. This is important. When you workshop someone, else stories or someone else's story, you'll or you're learning how to read critically, analyzing what works and what doesn't, and you're learning professional communication, how to give and receive criticism respectfully and productively. The workshop model might feel uncomfortable at first. Sharing your creative work can feel vulnerable, but this vulnerability is part of the learning process. You learn to separate yourself from your work, to see it objectively. You learn that criticism of your writing isn't criticism of you as a person. You also learn that you're not alone. Every writer struggles with similar challenges. Seeing how your peers tackle problems often gives you new strategies for your own work. So remember, engagement isn't passive. You can learn creative writing by just listening to me lecture. You have to write, share, revise, and read others' work, give feedback, receiving feedback, and participate actively in the community of writers we're creating in this class. Importance of collaboration. Continuing our discussing of engagement, let's talk specifically about collaboration, which this slide addresses. The text reads, public readings offer opportunities for students to present their work to audiences, developing confidence and learning how texts perform when spoken loud. Peer review sessions cultivate the ability to analyze writing critically while offering supportive, constructive feedback. Skills essential for professional writing careers. Interdisciplinary collaboration expands creative possibilities as students draw inspiration from art, music, history, psychology, and other fields to enrich their writing. There are three types of collaboration mentioned here. Let me discuss each. First, public readings. The text says these help you develop confidence and learn how texts often perform when spoken loud. This is important because writing is ultimately meant to be read, often loud, whether literally or in the reader's mind. When you read you work aloud to an audience, you immediately hear what works and what doesn't. You hear where you stumble, where the rhythm um, breaks down, where words sound awkward. You also see audiences' reaction, where they laugh, where they look confused, where they learn forward with interest. This immediate feedback is inavailable. Public readings also build confidence. The first time is scary, but each time gets easier. And this skill is essential if you pursue writing professionally. You'll be asked to read at book launches, literary festivals, and other events. Second, peer review sessions. The text emphasizes that these cultivate the ability to analyze writing critically while offering supportive, constructive feedback. Notice both parts, critically and supportive, constructive. You need to be honest about what isn't working critical, but you need to frame that honesty in a way that help the writer improve, supportive, constructive. The text also notes these are skills essential for professional writing careers. Why? Because even published authors work with editors who critic their work. You need to be able to receive criticism without falling apart, and you need to distinguish between useful criticism and unhelpful criticism. Third, interdisciplinary collaboration. The text says students draw inspiration from art, music, history, psychology, and other fields to enrich their writing. Creative writing doesn't exist in isolation. A poet might be inspired by painting, a fiction writer might incorporate historical research, a playwright might use psychological concepts to develop characters, a creative nonfiction writer might structure an essay like a musical composition. Being open to inspiration from other disciplines make your writing richer and more interesting. All three types of collaboration, public readings, peer review, and interdisciplinary work expand your capabilities as a writer. They take you out of isolation and connect you to communities, audiences, and ideas beyond yourself. This connection strengthens your work. The foundation of creative writing education rests on the understanding that writing is both an art and a craft. While natural talent and inspiration play roles, sustained development requires dedicated practice throughout revision and willingness to experiment with new forms and techniques. By establishing these foundational principles, students begin their journey equipped with realistic expectations and the tools necessary for meaningful growth. Let me unpack this carefully because it's addressing some common misconceptions about writing. First, writing is both an art and a craft. This is crucial. Art suggests creativity, inspiration, personal expression, the mysterious part of writing that comes from somewhere deep within. Craft suggests skill, technique, practice, teachable part of writing that you can learn and improve through training. Many people think writing is only art. Either you have the gift of the gift or you don't. Others think writing is only craft, just to follow the rules and you'll succeed. The truth is both and not either or. Second, while natural talent and inspiration play rules, notice it says play rules, acknowledging they matter. But then comes the critical part. Sustained development requires a dedicated practice throughout revision and willingness to experiment. Let's look at the three requirements. Dedicated practice. You have to write regularly, constantly, even when you do not feel inspired. Through thoughtful revision, first drafts are rarely good. You have to be willing to rewrite, sometimes many times. Willingness to experiment. You do not just stay in your comfort zone. You have to try new things even if they fail. Third, realistic expectations. This phrase is important. Many beginning writers have unrealistic expectations. They think I'll write something brilliant immediately, it will be published, and I'll be famous. Realistic expectations sound more like I'll write many drafts. Some will be terrible. I'll improve gradually through practice. I'll face rejection and success if it comes. Will come slowly. This isn't permission, or it isn't pessimism. It's realism. It's not pessimism. It's realism. and actually realistic expectations are liberating. They free you from the pressure of immediate perfection. Fourth, the tools necessary for meaningful growth. Education gives you these tools. You learn techniques, strategies, approaches. You build a toolkit. Then, throughout your writing life, you can reach into this toolkit when you face different challenges. The metaphor of writing as both art and craft is often compared to woodworking or cooking. A master carpenter has both artistic vision, what should this table look like, and the craft skills? How do I join these pieces of good? A master chef has both artistic creativity. How can I combine these flavors in new ways? And craft skills, how do I properly suit, how do I create this suit? Writing is the same. You need both the artistic vision and the technical crafts. This course will help you develop both. Now let's move to chapter 2, the writing process. The writing process and craft development, brainstorming, generate ideas through free writing, observations, and exploration of personal experience and research, editing, polish language, correct mechanics, and prepare the final draft with attention to every detail. Draft, transform ideas to initial written form, focusing on getting words on the page without premature self-editing. Revision, reshape and refine the draft through expanding consideration or considering recording or reordering and reconsidering creative choices. So, we're now moving into chapter 2, which focuses on the writing process and the craft development. This slide gives us an overview of the four main stages of the writing process. Stage 1, brainstorming. The text says generate ideas through free writing, observation, and exploration of personal experiences and research. This is where everything starts. Finding what you want to write about, notice the multiple sources, free writing, just writing without censoring yourself, observing, paying attention to the world around you, personal experiences, drawing from your own life, and research, learning about topics and or topics and interest you. Stage 2, drafting. Transforms ideas into initial written form, focusing on getting words on the page without premature self-editing. This is crucial advance. Many writers never get past brainstorming because they edit themselves too early. Drafting means just write. Don't worry. If it's good, do not stop to fix every sentence. Get the ideas down, you can fix them later. Stage 3, revision. Um, Notice this is different from editing. Revision is about big picture changes, adding whole sections, cutting material that doesn't work, moving things around, reconsidering your approach. This is where much of the real world happens. Now let's go for editing number 4, polish language, correct mechanics and prepare the final draft with attention to every detail. Only after you have revised the big picture issues do you focus on sentence level concerns, grammar, punctuation, word choice, spelling. This is the final polish. The writing process is inherently recursive rather than linear. Writers do not simply move from brainstorming to drafting to revision in a neat, orderly sequence. Instead, they cycle through these stages multiple times, returning to earlier phases as new insights emerge or as later work reveals gaps in earlier thinking. Understanding this recursive nature helps students approach writing with realistic specifications, recognizing that confusion, backtracking, and multiple revisions aren't a sign of failure but natural components of sophisticated creative work. Let me make sure you really understand this concept because it's so important. Linear versus recursive. A linear process goes step one, step two, step three, done, like following a recipe. Exactly. A recursive process goes step one, step two, back to step one, step three, back to step two, step one again, and so on, spiraling toward completion. Idea generation techniques provide the raw material for creative writing. Observation involves paying close attention to the world, noticing details, patterns, behaviors, and the phenomena that others might overlook. Personal experience offers authentic emotional truths and unique perspectives that can anchor faction, poetry, and creative notification. Research, as discussed earlier, provides historical context, technical accuracy, and inspiration for exploration. Students learn the multiple strategies for accessing ideas, recognizing that different techniques work better for different writers and different projects. Some might find free writing liberating, while others prefer structured prompts for visual inspiration. Let me break down these different sources of ideas. Observation. The text says paying close attention to the world, noticing details, patterns, behaviors, and phenomena that others might overlook. This is about being fully present and attentive. Most people walk through life without distracted, not really paying attention. Writers need to be observers and notice how people talk, how they move, what they wear, what their faces do when they are thinking. Notice how light falls on a building, how a tree moves in wind, how a city sounds at 3 a.m. Notice patterns. Why do people always stand a certain way when waiting for a bus? What behaviors repeat in certain situations? These observations become material for young writers. Alice Morno, the short story writer, is famous for her incredible powers of observation. She notices tiny details of human behavior that bring her characters to life. Organizing tools help writers transform chaotic initial ideas into structured drafts. Outlines provide hierarchical frameworks that map out major sections and subsections. Storyboards borrowed from filmmaking allow writers to visualize narrative sequences and consider pacing. Timelines help track chronology in complex stories with multiple time frames. Mind maps reveal connections between ideas that might not be apparent in linear outlines. Students experiment with various organization methods to discover which tools best support their individual creative process and the specific demands of different projects. Let's look at each organizational tool. Outlines these shows hierarchy, or these show hierarchy. Main points and subpoints a traditional outline looks like. First major section, first subsection, second subsection, second major section, first subsection, detail, second subsection. This is full useful for essays, nonfiction, and even for plotting fiction, you can see the overall structure at a glance. Revision strategies represent where much of the real creative work happens. Expanding involves adding necessary detail, development of or explanation where drafts feel thin or rushed. Considering requires cutting unnecessary material, tightening language, and eliminating redundancy. Shifting content means reordering sections, scenes, or stanzas to improve flow, pacing, or dramatic impact. Each revision should be guided by specific goals, strengthen characterization, clarifying theme, improving rhythm, or enhancing emotional impact. Random or unfocused revision rarely improves the writing as effectively as targeted changes made with clear purposes. Let me emphasize this opening sentence. Revision strategies represent where much of the real creative work happens. Many beginning writers think the work is in the initial drafting, but professional writers know that revision is where good writing becomes great writing. There is a famous quote from the various writers, versions attributed to different people. Writing is rewriting. What this means is that the real writing, the real craft happens not in the first draft, but in subsequent revision. Now let's look at the three main revision strategies. First, expanding. Sometimes your draft is too thin. You have the skeleton but not the flesh. Expanding means adding more sensory details to make scenes vivid, more development of characters, thoughts, and motivations, more examples to support an argument in nonfiction, more explanation of confusing parts. The challenge is to add material that enriches without padding. You're not adding just to add, you're adding to address specific weaknesses. Second, condensing. This is often harder than expanding. It means cutting scenes or sections that do not advance a story or argument, tightening wordy sentences, and eliminating redundancy, saying the same thing twice in different words, cutting beautiful but irrelevant passages. The painful kill your darings. Advice. Writers often resist condensing. We love our words. Every sentence feels important, but often cutting makes writing stronger. It increases pace, focuses attention, and makes what remains more powerful. Third, shifting content. Sometimes the problem isn't too much or too little, it's the wrong order. This might mean moving a crucial revelation earlier because readers need to know it sooner, saving information for later to create suspense. Responding says to the strongest arguments comes last. Structuring poetry to so images build more effectively. The text then provides the crucial advice. Each revision should be guided by specific goals. Don't just randomly tinker, identify a specific problem and revise to address that problem. For example, problem my teacher or my character feels flat. Goal strengthen characterization strategy, add a scene showing the character in conflict, reveal their thoughts, give them a distinctive way of speaking. Problem by say theme isn't clear. Goal clarifying theme strategy, add a paragraph explicitly stating the theme, remove tangential material that obscures the theme, strengthen example that illustrate the theme. The text ends with a warming, random, or unfocused revision rarely improves writing. This is absolutely true. Sometimes writers revise and revise but never improve. They just make changes for the sake of changes. Effective revision requires diagnose what's wrong, followed by targeted treatment. How do I fix this specific problem? We will continue inshallah next hour. Until next time, tata for now.